Welcome to this exciting and detailed video where we explore the top 4 most valuable Monticello 5-cent Jefferson nickel coins. Small 5-cent coins that many people ignore, yet some of them are worth a surprising amount of money today. The Jefferson nickel series began in 1938 and features Thomas Jefferson on the front and his famous home, Monticello, on the reverse. While billions of these coins have been minted, certain rare dates and mint errors have become true treasures among collectors. If you have old nickels at home, you might want to check them carefully. Let's get started. First up, the Monticello 5-cent Jefferson nickel from the year 2000 with the D mint mark. At first glance, it may appear like any other nickel you might receive in change, especially when it shows the typical signs of circulation. However, collectors know that even circulated coins can hold incredible interest, and sometimes the smallest details can turn a common coin into something truly remarkable. When you first hold the 2000 Jefferson nickel with the D mint mark, you are holding a coin that was struck at the Denver Mint, one of the most important minting facilities in the United States. The Denver Mint has produced billions of coins over the years, and its famous D mint mark appears on countless pieces of American currency. Yet each coin still carries its own story, shaped by the year it was made, the condition it is found in, and the journey it has taken through the hands of the public. The Jefferson nickel series itself has a long and interesting history. It was first introduced in 1938, replacing the earlier Buffalo nickel design. The coin was created to honor Thomas Jefferson, the third president of the United States and one of the most influential figures in American history. His portrait appears proudly on the front of the coin, while the reverse side features his famous home, Monticello, located in Virginia. By the time the year 2000 arrived, the Jefferson nickel had already been part of everyday American life for more than 60 years. Millions of these coins were struck every year to keep up with the demand for circulation. Most people used them for small purchases without giving them a second thought. But collectors always keep a careful eye on these coins, because occasionally a particular example stands out from the rest. The obverse of the 2000 Jefferson nickel features a strong portrait of Thomas Jefferson facing left. His detailed hair, calm expression, and the classic style of the design make the coin instantly recognizable. Around the portrait you will find the inscriptions that identify the coin, including the word Liberty and the year 2000. Just beside the date sits the small but important D mint mark, indicating that the coin was struck in Denver. Turning the coin over reveals the iconic image of Monticello, Jefferson's historic estate. The building is shown in a beautifully balanced design, with the name Monticello displayed prominently. Above the building appears the motto E pluribus unum, while below it you will see the words United States of America and 5 cents. This reverse design remained a classic symbol of the Jefferson nickel for decades. A circulated 2000 D Jefferson nickel often shows the marks of everyday use. You might notice small scratches, slight dullness in the metal, or softened details from years of handling. These signs of circulation tell the story of the coin's journey through stores, pockets, cash registers, and countless transactions. Rather than reducing the coin's charm, these marks often add character and history. Collectors sometimes underestimate circulated coins, believing only perfect specimens are worth attention. But experienced numismatists know that rarity, unusual characteristics, and historical context can make even circulated coins extremely fascinating. Every coin has the potential to reveal something unexpected when examined carefully. One reason collectors study the 2000 D Jefferson nickel closely is the possibility of minting variations or unusual production details. The minting process involves massive presses striking metal blanks with great force, and occasionally small imperfections or anomalies occur. These tiny differences can transform an ordinary coin into a collector's treasure. Another important factor is preservation. Even though a coin may be circulated, some examples remain in surprisingly strong condition. When the design details of Jefferson's hair or the columns of Monticello remain visible and sharp, collectors take notice. Coins that survive circulation with strong details often attract extra attention in the collecting community. The year 2000 was also an exciting time for coin collecting in general. Around that period, the United States Mint was already capturing public interest with special coin programs, and many people began paying closer attention to the coins they encountered in everyday life. This renewed curiosity helped bring many hidden treasures to light. The Denver Mint itself has an impressive legacy in American coin production. Since its early days, it has played a major role in supplying coins for circulation across the nation. Seeing the small D mint mark on a coin instantly connects that piece to a long tradition of craftsmanship and precision. For many collectors, the joy of coin collecting is not only about value but also about discovery. Searching through jars of change, coin rolls from banks, or inherited collections can lead to surprising finds. The excitement of spotting a specific date or mint mark never fades for those passionate about numismatics. The 2000 D Jefferson nickel is a reminder that valuable coins are not always ancient or made of precious metals. Sometimes a modern coin made from a simple copper-nickel alloy can capture the attention of collectors for unique reasons. Its story depends on condition, rarity, and the curiosity of those who study it. Careful inspection is always important when evaluating a coin like this. A magnifying glass can reveal tiny details that are impossible to see with the naked eye. Subtle features in the lettering, the building on the reverse, or the portrait of Jefferson may hold clues that make one coin stand apart from thousands of others. Lighting also plays a key role in examining coins. When a circulated nickel is tilted under a light source, the surface may reveal hidden textures, shine, or wear patterns. These details help collectors understand how the coin was used and preserved over time. Another fascinating aspect of coin collecting is the idea that valuable coins often remain hidden in everyday places. Many people unknowingly spend coins that collectors would love to own. This possibility keeps collectors constantly searching through pocket change and coin rolls. The Monticello design itself has always been admired for its architectural beauty. The careful engraving captures the symmetry of Jefferson's famous home, making the coin not just currency but also a miniature piece of art. Even after years of circulation, that artistic design can still shine through. Collectors also pay attention to strike quality. Some coins leave the mint with sharper details than others due to slight differences in the striking process. When a circulated coin still displays strong lines and clear features, it becomes much more appealing to enthusiasts. The composition of the Jefferson nickel adds another layer of interest. Made primarily of copper with a portion of nickel, the coin has a durable structure that allows it to survive decades of use. This durability. Next up, the Monticello 5-cent Jefferson nickel from 1985 with the P mint mark. At first glance, it may appear to be just another nickel that passed through countless hands in everyday transactions. Its circulated color and worn surfaces may make it seem common, but collectors know that even a modest coin like this can hold an incredible story and unexpected value. When people think about valuable coins, they often imagine shiny gold pieces or ancient silver treasures locked away in museums. However, the reality is far more exciting. Some of the most interesting finds come from coins that were once used to buy a cup of coffee or pay for a bus ride. The 1985 Jefferson nickel with the P mint mark is one of those coins that invites collectors to look closer, because sometimes rarity and value are hidden in the smallest details. The Jefferson nickel series has a long and respected history in American coinage. Introduced in 1938, it replaced the Buffalo nickel and featured a portrait of Thomas Jefferson on the front. The reverse side displays Jefferson's famous home, Monticello, a symbol of American heritage and architecture. Over the decades, billions of these nickels were produced, yet collectors continue to search through them carefully because certain varieties and conditions can become highly desirable. By the time 1985 arrived, the Jefferson nickel had already been a familiar part of everyday life for nearly half a century. The coins produced that year at the Philadelphia Mint carried the small but significant P mint mark. This letter represents the mint where the coin was produced, and for collectors it is an important detail that helps identify and categorize different coins in the series. A circulated 1985 Jefferson nickel often shows signs of its journey through time. The once bright metallic surface may appear darker or slightly dull from years of handling. Tiny scratches, worn edges, and softened design features are common. These marks tell a silent story of the many places the coin has traveled and the countless exchanges it has witnessed. Even in circulated condition, collectors examine these nickels carefully. The portrait of Thomas Jefferson on the front still carries its dignified appearance, though some of the finer hair details may be worn. His profile remains instantly recognizable, representing one of the most influential figures in American history. Turning the coin over reveals the iconic image of Monticello. The building's columns and steps create a design that has fascinated collectors for generations. In circulated examples, the lines may appear smoother and less sharp, but the structure still stands proudly in the center of the coin's reverse. The year 1985 is clearly stamped beneath Jefferson's portrait. For many people, this date might simply mark a point in the past, but for collectors it signals a specific chapter in the long production story of the Jefferson nickel series. Every year brings its own variations in minting quality, circulation patterns, and collector interest. The small P mint mark placed beside the date identifies the coin as a product of the Philadelphia Mint. For decades, coins from this mint were produced without a mint mark, making the appearance of the letter P an interesting historical detail in American coinage. By the 1980s, this mint mark had become a normal part of identifying coins from Philadelphia. Many collectors enjoy searching through rolls of nickels looking for specific years and mint marks. The excitement comes from the possibility that an ordinary-looking coin could turn out to be something special. The 1985 Jefferson nickel with the P mint mark is often part of that search. Circulated coins carry a certain charm that uncirculated coins sometimes lack. Each scratch and worn surface reflects real history. Someone may have received this coin as change at a grocery store, used it in a vending machine, or saved it unknowingly in a jar for years. The metal composition of the Jefferson nickel is another interesting aspect. These coins are made primarily of copper and nickel, giving them their distinctive color and durability. This mixture allows the coin to survive decades of use while still maintaining its recognizable design. Collectors also pay attention to the clarity of the lettering on the coin. Words such as Liberty, Indiana God We Trust, and United States of America are part of the design that helps identify authenticity and condition. Even when slightly worn, these inscriptions connect the coin to the broader story of American currency. Another fascinating element of coin collecting is the way small variations can dramatically affect value. Minor differences in strike quality, minting errors, or unusual characteristics can transform an ordinary coin into a sought-after collectible. Because of this possibility, experienced collectors inspect each coin carefully under good lighting or magnification. They look for unusual marks, doubled letters, or striking anomalies that could make the coin unique among millions of others produced the same year. The Monticello building on the reverse side is particularly important when evaluating Jefferson nickels. Collectors often examine the steps of Monticello, because in many circulated coins these steps become worn and smooth. Coins where these steps remain visible are especially admired by specialists. Even a circulated 1985 nickel can still display a surprising amount of detail. The windows of Monticello, the pillars, and the surrounding text can all provide clues about the coin's preservation and history. For some collectors, the joy of the hobby comes from the hunt itself. Searching through pocket change, old coin rolls, or inherited collections can lead to unexpected discoveries. A coin that once seemed insignificant may suddenly become the highlight of a collection. Another reason collectors remain fascinated by Jefferson nickels is the connection to American history. Thomas Jefferson was not only a president but also the author of the Declaration of Independence and a passionate supporter of education and architecture. His home, Monticello, represents more than just a building. It reflects Jefferson's ideas, creativity, and vision. Seeing it on the reverse of the nickel adds cultural depth to a coin that might otherwise seem simple. The year 1985 itself represents a different era in American life. Technology, culture, and global events were changing rapidly. Yet the nickel continued to circulate quietly through everyday commerce, linking the past with the present. Many people never think twice about the coins they spend each day. Nickels often end up forgotten in drawers, jars, or old wallets. But collectors understand that these overlooked coins can sometimes reveal hidden treasures. Over the years, stories have emerged of rare coins discovered in ordinary places. Someone sorting through spare change might suddenly notice a detail that makes a coin stand out from the rest. This possibility keeps collectors motivated. Each coin becomes a small mystery waiting to be examined and understood. The thrill of discovery is one of the greatest rewards in the hobby. The circulated condition of a coin does not automatically remove its potential importance. In fact, many valuable coins show clear signs of use. What matters most is the presence of unique characteristics or rare minting features. Collectors also enjoy sharing their discoveries with others. Coin clubs, online forums, and collector gatherings allow enthusiasts to exchange knowledge and stories about unusual finds. Next up, the Monticello 5-cent Jefferson nickel from 1946 without a mint mark. At first glance it may seem like just another old nickel that once passed through countless hands, but for collectors and history lovers, this coin represents a remarkable connection to a powerful moment in American history. When you hold a 1946 Jefferson nickel, you are holding a small piece of the post-World War II era. The year 1946 marked a time when the world was beginning to rebuild after years of conflict. Factories that once produced wartime supplies were returning to normal production, and the United States Mint resumed creating coins for everyday commerce. The Jefferson nickel had already been part of American life for several years by this time. First introduced in 1938, the design replaced the Buffalo nickel and featured the portrait of Thomas Jefferson on the front. Jefferson was one of the most influential figures in American history, known for writing the Declaration of Independence and serving as the third President of the United States. On the front of the coin, Jefferson's profile appears calm and dignified. Even in circulated condition, the familiar shape of his portrait remains clearly visible. Though years of handling may soften the fine details of his hair and coat, the design still carries the elegance and balance intended by the original artist. The reverse side of the coin displays one of the most recognizable architectural images ever placed on American currency. The building shown is Monticello, the historic home of Thomas Jefferson located in Virginia. Its graceful dome and classic columns symbolize Jefferson's love for architecture and classical design. A circulated 1946 nickel often shows signs of its long journey through everyday life. The once bright metallic surface may appear slightly darker with time, and the edges may show small marks from years of use. These features do not erase the coin's beauty, instead they add character and history. One important detail about this particular coin is the absence of a mint mark. When a Jefferson nickel from 1946 does not display a mint mark, it means the coin was produced at the Philadelphia Mint. For collectors, mint marks are essential clues that help identify where a coin was struck. Philadelphia was the original mint of the United States and produced enormous numbers of coins during the 20th century. Coins from this mint often circulated widely across the country, passing through countless transactions over many decades. Collectors enjoy examining circulated coins like the 1946 nickel because every small detail tells part of the story. The lettering around the coin, including Liberty and In God We Trust, reflects the values and traditions that American coinage has carried for generations. The date 1946 beneath Jefferson's portrait stands as a reminder of a very specific time in history. This was the first full year after the war ended, when soldiers were returning home and economies around the world were adjusting to peace. Nickels produced during the war years had actually been made with a different metal composition that included silver. By 1946, the mint returned to the traditional mixture of copper and nickel, giving the coin the familiar tone collectors recognize today. In circulated examples, the portrait and the Monticello building may show wear, especially on the highest points of the design. Jefferson's cheek and the steps of Monticello are often the first areas where wear becomes noticeable. However, even with wear, these coins remain fascinating pieces of history. Every scratch and mark represents decades of movement from one pocket to another, from store counters to vending machines and beyond. Many coin collectors first become interested in the hobby by examining coins they already own. A simple jar of old change might contain pieces from many different years, each with its own story waiting to be discovered. The 1946 Jefferson nickel is a perfect example of a coin that encourages curiosity. At first it might look common, but when collectors start researching its background, they discover how closely it connects to historical events. Collectors also appreciate how the Jefferson nickel design has remained recognizable for generations. While some details have been updated over time, the overall concept of Jefferson on the front and Monticello on the back continues to represent American heritage. Looking closely at the reverse design, the structure of Monticello becomes the centerpiece of the coin. The rows of columns and steps create a sense of symmetry that has fascinated collectors for decades. In circulated coins, the steps at the base of Monticello often become worn smooth. Specialists sometimes study these steps carefully because their condition can influence how collectors judge the quality of the coin. Even small differences in preservation can make one coin more desirable than another. Two coins from the same year may appear similar at first glance, but closer inspection can reveal subtle distinctions. These differences are what make coin collecting such an exciting hobby. The smallest variation in strike quality, preservation, or minting can turn an ordinary coin into a special collectible. People often overlook nickels because they seem so common. Yet the Jefferson nickel series has produced some of the most surprising discoveries in modern coin collecting. Sometimes collectors find unusual minting errors, doubled letters, or other rare features that dramatically increase a coin's interest. These discoveries keep the search exciting for hobbyists around the world. Circulated coins also carry a certain authenticity that brand new coins do not. They have lived through real history, quietly witnessing decades of everyday life. Imagine how many different people may have held a 1946 nickel over the years. It may have traveled across cities, states, and generations without anyone realizing the story it carried. For collectors, finding an older coin like this can feel like uncovering a small historical artifact. Even though it was originally worth just 5 cents, its journey through time makes it meaningful. The Jefferson nickel also reminds collectors that beauty and history can exist in even the smallest pieces of metal. A coin smaller than a bottle cap can still represent an entire era. Over the decades, millions of these coins were produced, but only a small number gained special attention from collectors due to unique characteristics or exceptional preservation. Because of this, many enthusiasts continue to examine their change carefully. They know that the next coin they look at might reveal something unusual. This sense of possibility is one of the reasons coin collecting continues to attract new fans every year. The thrill of discovery keeps people searching through coins from every decade. A circulated 1946 Jefferson nickel without a mint mark might seem ordinary at first, but it still holds the charm of history and the excitement of potential rarity. Collectors understand that patience and knowledge are essential. The more you learn about coins, the more likely you are to recognize something special. Even the smallest detail, such as a tiny variation in design or strike, can transform an everyday coin into something remarkable. That is why collectors always encourage people to take a closer look at the coins they already have. Hidden value sometimes appears in the most unexpected places. Next up, the Monticello 5-cent Jefferson nickel from 1999 with a D mint mark. At first glance, it may appear to be an ordinary nickel, but collectors understand that even modern coins can carry remarkable significance when examined closely. When someone finds a 1999 Jefferson nickel in very fine condition, it often stands out because of its preserved details. The surfaces still show much of their original character, and the design elements remain clear and strong. For collectors, coins in this level of preservation offer an exciting balance between history and beauty. The Jefferson nickel series has been a cornerstone of American coinage since it was first introduced in 1938. Replacing the Buffalo nickel, the new design honored Thomas Jefferson, one of the most influential figures in the formation of the United States. His portrait has appeared on the coin for decades, making the Jefferson nickel one of the longest-running coin designs in American history. Looking at the front of the 1999 nickel, the familiar profile of Thomas Jefferson immediately draws attention. His calm expression and detailed features give the coin a dignified appearance. In very fine condition, many of the lines in Jefferson's hair and facial contours are still clearly visible. The reverse side of the coin features the iconic image of Monticello, Jefferson's historic home in Virginia. This elegant building represents Jefferson's love for architecture and classical design. The columns and dome of Monticello create a balanced and recognizable design that collectors admire. The D mint mark on this coin tells an important part of its story. This small letter indicates that the coin was produced at the Denver Mint. Over the years, the Denver Mint has produced billions of coins that circulate across the United States and beyond. Coins struck in Denver often carry subtle characteristics that collectors learn to recognize. The mint mark helps enthusiasts categorize their collections and understand the origin of each coin they find. The year 1999 itself was a significant moment in modern history. It was the final year before the world entered a new millennium. Technology was advancing rapidly, and people everywhere were preparing for the changes that the year 2000 would bring. While major historical events were unfolding, coins like the 1999 Jefferson nickel quietly moved through everyday transactions. They passed from hand to hand in stores, restaurants, and markets, becoming a small but constant part of daily life. When a coin from that year survives in very fine condition, it tells us that it experienced relatively limited wear. The raised elements of the design still stand above the fields of the coin, giving it a more detailed and attractive appearance. Collectors often look closely at the lettering on Jefferson nickels. Words like liberty and in God we trust appear clearly on the front of the coin. These inscriptions connect the coin to the long traditions of American currency. On the reverse, The words United States of America and 5 cents surround the image of Monticello. In very fine condition, the letters remain sharp enough to read easily, adding to the overall beauty of the coin. Another interesting feature collectors examine is the structure of Monticello itself. The building includes detailed columns, windows, and steps. These architectural elements help create the coin's distinctive appearance. Over time, coins in circulation naturally experience wear. High points of the design become smoother, and the shine of the metal gradually fades. Yet coins in very fine condition retain much of their original design strength. Many collectors enjoy studying the small differences between coins produced in different years or mints. Even subtle variations can make a coin more interesting to specialists who focus on particular series. The Jefferson nickel series is especially popular because it offers so many opportunities for discovery. From early wartime nickels to modern varieties, collectors constantly search for unique pieces. One reason collectors remain fascinated with nickels is their durability. The mixture of copper and nickel used in these coins creates a strong alloy that can survive decades of circulation. Because of this durability, many Jefferson nickels remain recognizable even after many years of use. Their designs continue to tell the story of American history through small pieces of metal. Collectors often begin their journey by simply looking through pocket change. What seems like an ordinary coin may reveal something unusual when examined carefully. A 1999 D mint mark nickel in very fine condition might appear common at first, but experienced collectors know that small details can sometimes transform an everyday coin into something extraordinary. For example, certain minting errors or unusual strike characteristics can make a coin extremely desirable. These rare features sometimes appear unexpectedly in coins that once circulated normally. The excitement of coin collecting comes from this sense of possibility. Every coin could potentially hold a secret waiting to be discovered. Even modern coins can develop value over time as collectors search for the best preserved examples or rare varieties. A coin that once bought a small item at a store can eventually become a treasured collectible. Another reason collectors love the Jefferson nickel is the historical figure it represents. Thomas Jefferson was not only a president but also a thinker, writer, and architect who helped shape the nation. His home, Monticello, symbolizes creativity and vision. Seeing it on the reverse of the coin adds historical depth to a small object that people might otherwise overlook. Coins like the 1999 Jefferson nickel remind us that history is present in everyday life. The money we carry often reflects the stories and achievements of past generations. For collectors, each coin becomes a miniature time capsule. It connects the present moment with the era in which the coin was produced. Very fine condition coins are especially satisfying to collectors because they preserve much of the original artistry of the design. They show enough where to prove their history while still displaying strong visual appeal. Over the years, some collectors have discovered rare varieties hidden among ordinary coins. These discoveries fuel the excitement that keeps the hobby alive. People around the world search through coin rolls, jars of spare change, and inherited collections hoping to uncover something special. The Jefferson nickel series continues to reward careful observers who take the time to study each coin closely. A 1999 nickel with a D mint mark in very fine condition may look simple at first glance, but its history, design, and potential rarity make it worth examining carefully. Sometimes the smallest piece of change can hold a story far greater than its size suggests. And in the most remarkable and extraordinary situations, a rare and exceptional example of the 1999 Monticello Jefferson nickel with a D mint mark preserved in very fine condition can reach an astonishing value of $45,000.